What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Gotians Games, and this is going to be one of, I guess, my first, not really specific team building, you know what, kind of team building video, but more specifically combat video, because I have a lot of people who seem to have a problem when it comes to the mission requirement that you see on a lot of the missions where it says Incarnate, activate your Incarnate skill. So I'm going to give tips on how to activate your Incarnate skill, which can also be applied if you're, for example, you're too overpowered and you're having that issue. So first things first, when I'm building my teams, I like to have minimum two characters that can charge your Incarnate gauge. So the case that I'm using is Yu-Gi-Oh and Tease. Those are my chargers. Now, other characters can charge as well using your basic attacks and your assault attacks. But if you're trying to fill up that Incarnate gauge as quickly as possible, you want to avoid using your assault attack because that will basically kill your enemies. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and charge it. Now, the charge gauge, basically, depending on how much you powered up your character, it will determine on how much your charge attack will actually increase the gauge. So to start with, for example, Yu-Gi-Oh, when it's not powered up, I believe it's 18%. It's either 15 or 18%. And then you power it up. I think I powered it up twice so far, so that's why it's at 20% now. So he fills it up at a rate of 20%. Now with Alice here, if I clicked on Assault with Alice, she would AoE attack all the units and they'd be dead, and that's it. The break attack does not increase Incarnate gauge. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to increase the gauge, break attack is a no-go. Enhance is a good way to basically get away with her turn, like basically passing her turn, but still being useful. So we're going to go ahead and use Enhance. And again, that's like, it's going to pass her turn, but it's going to increase the magic resistance, so like I can give my party a buff while passing the turn. Also at the top here you can see the turn order, which is very important to keep in mind. So also I'm using Selka. She can increase the gauge with assault, but again I don't want to do that because it's going to attack all the enemies and it's only going to increase the gauge by 5%. Now if I wanted to attack with her, I could use basic attack, which would increase the gauge by 5% as well, and just attack one character or one enemy. But in this case I'm just gonna heal again, so that way like I pass her turn but I still make her useful on that turn. So now we're at T, so we're gonna go ahead and charge the gauge. She charges it again at a rate of 20% because I've increased her I've increased the effectiveness of her attack through the limit break, or not limit break, the enhancement section. So now we're back to Alice. So I've already enhanced. I don't want to do anything like that because we're increasing the Incarnate gauge. So I'm just gonna I can put either to basic attack, which I'm gonna do, or you can just straight up pass the turn. So if you pass the turn, it'll move her to whatever slot is next, depending on their speed and things of that nature. So if I was gonna push stay to pass her turn, you're gonna see the character portrait move to the next spot. So it adjusts on the timeline where she would go or attack next. But we're going to heal. Again, we're going to keep her useful and keep everyone alive. And we're back to Yu-Gi-Oh here. We'll go ahead and use the charge gauge. Now, obviously, if you want to load up your party with charge characters, you could do that effectively. And it would be a lot easier in that regard to just build it up. But for me, this is the easiest way to do it. I put two charged characters in my party and just go from there. So that was just the first round. Typically fights have 3 rounds. So now we're on wave 2 of 3. So like I said, I mean this is a surefire way, easy way to build it up in my opinion. You know, just go ahead like right here, charge, boom. It should be charged by 2 turns. There you go. Not 2 turns. He charged it up right now. So there you go. See, he's charged it up. I'm on the second wave. Not a big deal. Super easy. And from here, you can do whatever else you want because you've already charged the gauge. So we'll just go ahead And we're going to charge up because it's going to do more damage since it's linking. Which I'll explain linking in another video and stuff like that. Now, to take full advantage of the charge gauge, because that's important, or the Incarnate gauge, okay? If you want to take full advantage of it, I'm going to go ahead and kill the enemy right now so we can go to the last fight and I can show you what I mean by taking full advantage of it. Because one of the biggest issues that is in the game is when you use the Incarnate skill, you want to get the all-out attack type of deal where everybody attacks together. And that only happens if everybody is next to each other on the turn order. So if I was to click on the Incarnate gauge right now, the only one that would be involved in the switch attack would be Selka and Alice. I don't want that. I want everybody to be involved in that. So I'm going to go ahead and heal to basically move the turn order around. So you have different ways to move the turn order. I'm going to heal just one. Everybody needs to be healed right now. So I'm going to heal up. And in order to get turn order the way that you want it, use defend. Just click on stay. You're going to see the turn order move. And that way you can manipulate it how you want it to be in the turn order. But for right now, actually, I'm going to go ahead and use Mind Barrier. Only because I'm messing with the turn order. So you see Alice on the top in the turn order. Right here, she's the third person. If I was to defend and put it on stay, she would have been the next in line. So instead of Tease right here, would have been Alice. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to continue enhancing because I'm messing with the turn order. I want to get everybody involved in this turn. Actually, let me go ahead and single attack. Let me do that. I can single attack right here. That's fine. Because I can, as long as there's one enemy left, I can still do this. So, just gonna go ahead, click on that one. Alright, he's done. It's a little bit easier this way. Okay, so you see, like, I've manipulated the turn order enough that when it gets to Selka, if I do the Incarnate attack, it'll activate for everybody. But, that's not what I want yet. Because I don't want Selka to do her Incarnate attack. Okay, that's the other thing to keep in mind, too. Is you want your strongest character to do the Incarnate attack. So not Selka. Actually, not even Yu-Gi-Oh! I would effectively want... I'd effectively want Alice to do it. So if I can get Alice to do it, that would be fantastic. Okay, it's gonna take a long time for me to do this. But... so right here, I'm going to go ahead and use Yu-Gi-Oh! For the Incarnate gauge. And everybody now is going to be involved in the Incarnate attack. Or the switch combination. Because they're all grouped up together. Now what happens if you have a character that attacks twice in a row? Well, here's what will happen. If the character that you... so say for example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Had two character portraits at the top in the timeline. The first one, if I clicked on the Incarnate gauge, it would just be him by himself as a solo attack. Okay, if I wanted to have the other characters, I would need to use that first turn, so that way the second turn that he has is the Incarnate attack. I hope that I explained that well enough for you guys. Okay, so here's an example. So if right here it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Was next, if I just used the Yu-Gi-Oh! One, he would do the Incarnate skill and the switch combination wouldn't happen. But if I passed this turn, or if I had attacked or did something else with that turn, then the next turn, his next turn, if he had the two portraits next to each other, his next turn would then activate the switch combination for everybody that's following him. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and just assault. And it's done. Like, it's done. They're all dead. And so we're going to have, because I was able to do the Incarnate attack, or the Enhanced Armament attack, whatever you want to call it. Because I was able to do that, we went ahead and we completed that mission. And while keeping it in the S rank. So, so to sum up, you want 2 charge attack characters. Minimum. Okay? 2 charge attack characters. Pay attention to the turn order at the top. And if you want to take full advantage of those 2 charge attack characters, you want to make sure that you have them be the only ones who actually attack to charge up that gauge. All you got to do, to complete the missions is charge it up once, activate the Incarnate skill, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it the rest of the fight. You can do whatever you want. Alright, so I hope you guys found this video informational, informative. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I really do appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day. Stay cool, guys.